Hey, what's happening, Hoosier Nation? Great to be back here with you on another episode of Indiana Football Live, here streaming on the IU Athletics YouTube page, where we also invite your questions and comments. Also available to pick up over on the Indiana Football Twitter account as well. I am Rhett Lewis, radio color analyst with my buddy Don Fisher, up in the radio broadcast booth, and we're excited to hit the road really for the first time this season as Indiana gets set for Maryland and getting back into conference play against an opponent that's 4-0 on the season, and definitely a good challenge here getting back into the grind of the Big Ten schedule. So great to be back here with you. Reminder, we'll get to your questions and comments a bit later in the show. I'll give you a few things that I'm looking forward to about this matchup with Maryland, but we get an opportunity here today to have a chat with Indiana Husky and one of the most experienced players on this team. Noah Pierre is in the house here today. Noah, what's going on, man? You hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you perfectly fine. Can you hear me?
All right, my friend. Excited to get this thing rolling here with you. I want to make sure that I can hear you. Let me flip this thing over here. All right. You still got me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I got you. All right, we're in business. We're in business here. All right, so look, let's start, man. Look, obviously 2-2 now on the season. Akron is in the past, and now we get set for this final game of September and getting back into conference play. Give me a sense of what the focus was like, what the vibe was like around this team this week, knowing the challenge the opponent like this getting back into Big Ten play poses.
We super excited. Maryland, they're a really good team. I think they have the number one passing attack in the Big Ten right now. So as a defense, we're super excited for that challenge. They got to come and see us. But as a team, man, we're just excited to get back in Big Ten play, and get
Yeah.
some dubs.
Yeah, let's go. Let's start racking them up right here. Now's the time for sure. And as you kind of keep that quest towards, bowl eligibility and beyond, this is again the next opportunity here in week number 5. Let's talk just a little bit here, Noah, about about your responsibilities with this team as a Husky, a position you know very well and have played now the last couple of years. But you've been all over the place in the secondary too, going back to when you first got here. How would you describe your ability to make plays from that Husky spot? Because you get involved, in the slot a lot. You're involved, in all aspects of kind of defending what an opponent brings to IU's defense. So how would you describe it?
Just being versatile, being able to make a lot of different plays in different areas. They blitz me a lot. I'm covering really good receivers in the slot. I'm dropping deep in the half in the post. So I'm
Yep.
doing a lot of different things. I'm able to rush the passer, get back at the quarterback. So just being versatile, bringing that aspect to the defense.
So I was talking with Coach Wilt about 2 weeks ago now, and it was something we do over on the IU Hoosiers website. We go under the hood with IU football. We get a chance to talk to some of the coaches, and Coach Wilt, as a co-defensive coordinator and a linebackers coach, I was like, Coach, I feel like if Noah was maybe 20 pounds heavier, he might be in your room because I feel like he plays the Husky spot with a linebacker mentality. Does that fit with you?
Yeah, definitely. I've always been a physical player. So, I definitely probably be in Coach Wilt's room if I was 20 pounds heavier. Definitely. I love,
Well,
just being able to do different things like that.
yeah, and we love seeing you making plays all over the place. I told you again that Louisville game, man. You saw your most significant snap count until this past week, where you were there for just about every snap but one out on the defensive side, and love seeing you make plays all over the place. A lot of fun. Now, the guys that are to the right and left of you and in that secondary, when that's a part of your responsibility, are very much new, or at least new to the field on a consistent basis. In Jamari Sharp's case at corner, let's start right there. The new guys that have come in there and stepped in and played a huge role and made a big impact in the secondary. Let's start with Kobe Minor, who we've seen a lot more of the last couple of weeks as he's gotten back from injury, and with Nick Toomer unavailable. So let's start with those two guys and how they've kind of integrated themselves into this secondary.
More of the older guys in the corner
Yeah.
room. So they bring that leadership aspect. They bring that experience from when they came from I mean, the biggest thing with them, they really know how to communicate on the field. I mean, you might be in the stands, so you hear them communicating. So I feel like that's the biggest thing. As a defense, you got to be on the same page. If we are wrong, we are right. So I feel like that's the biggest thing that they bring to the table.
And then on the flip side, Jamari Sharp has been locking down the other side in terms of the perimeter corners in this defense. And he goes from, essentially a redshirt year to playing almost every snap of every game. How would you kind of describe his evolution into a major role in this defense?
I mean, he always had the talent, to be honest with you. I feel like, we had guys that played a lot last year, Tywan Mullen, Jalen Williams, they're in the NFL now. So I feel like they kind of held that down and he wasn't really needed in that aspect. But I mean, he came this year. I always tell him, man, you got first round talent. Like, the kid is 6'1", he runs a 4.3, he's long, rangy, you know what I'm saying? So I always tell him, like, you lock in on that technique, you lock in on your plays, like you have first round talent. He's really good.
Love to hear it, and certainly going to be tested this week with the way that Maryland likes to push the ball down the field and keep the ball in the air. We'll get to that here in a second, but I do want to get to the safeties too, because there's a lot of new there, although we did see Lewis Moore and Philip Dunham, and obviously we know Josh Sanguinetti quite a bit from their time here, but for Lou and for Phil, like these are much more prominent roles than what they saw a year ago. How have you seen them respond to that?
Those are guys with receiver background, so we've seen them attack the ball very well this year. Just starting off with Philip. I mean, his instinct is it's crazy. It's probably the best instinct that I've seen like firsthand. He kind of reminds me of a guy that played for us a while ago, Jamar Johnson. The way he attacks the ball,
the
way he's just always around the ball. I mean, it's crazy. He's been like that since he got here. So just being able to see him develop and take a greater role on defenses, I'm really proud of him. And Lewis Moore, me and him both played Husky last year, so we've been in the same room for a while now, and that's one of my closest friends on the team. So I'm really proud of him as well.
By the way, we're just getting a comment in here on the YouTube page. Eric Owen said, remembers when you were a recruit and described as a smaller, heavy hitter, was anxious to finally see him hit hard for the Hoosiers. Congrats, Noah. That from Eric. Thanks for staying the course for IU. I think I would echo those sentiments. We certainly appreciate your commitment to this program and the way that you have carried yourself, certainly making Hoosiers everywhere proud, my friend. So we appreciate that. Let's get up to a little bit in terms of what this Maryland Challenge looks like, because obviously, you played against Taulia how many times now? 3 times since you've been here. He's one of the most experienced starting quarterbacks in the conference. And look, the game came down to the fourth quarter last year. Close game. Seems like every year between these two teams, it comes down to it. How important is it to affect the quarterback, try to disrupt the quarterback so you can, you can have the guys like Phil, Lou, and yourself back there trying to pick Taulia off, if possible, And so just affecting the quarterback and not letting him sit back there and be comfortable and trying to attack the secondary in a game like this.
So like you said, he's one of the more experienced guys that we're gonna play. So just giving him different looks. He's very talented though. I'm sure he takes a lot after his brother, Tua, which I'm a fan of. He's very talented. Watching the film, I'm impressed with some of the stuff that he's been able to do this year. So it's a challenge that I'm looking forward to and that we're looking forward to as a defense.
Yeah, no question about it. And so when you are trying to kind of connect the front end and the back end, right? And I know that does go hand in hand. A lot of times when the guys up front get pressure, you kind of force a quarterback into a decision maybe he doesn't want to make or a throw he doesn't want to make, and that's when the turnovers start happening. So what do the guys up front this year look like to you in terms of, Andre and Phillip and Ladarius and, Linnell and the whole crew up there trying to affect the quarterback so that you guys on the back end can reap the benefits?
Big, fast, strong guys. I mean, they do a lot, and they work so hard. I mean, I saw them working in the spring and in the summer, so I'm not really surprised with the things that they displayed, this season. So, they work so hard. But just trying to contain him, like I said, we're looking forward to the challenge.
Yep, no question about it. Now, going back briefly to Akron, where you did face a quarterback that had some real mobility, and DJ Irons could certainly run it around a little bit. Does that kind of help reshape the focus this week for a player like Taulia, who we saw last year could be really slippery and elusive in the pocket, and kind of help refocus the mindset for this defense in that part of his skill set and tackling that this week?
Yeah, definitely apply the sense of urgency going into this week. We've seen we gave up a few big runs to DJ Irons, and we know how elusive Taulia could be. So definitely apply the sense of urgency to us during practice, and trying to apply that to the game.
So, first true road test, right? I mean, obviously went on the road a little bit to Lucas Oil Stadium, but that's still just an hour up the road and still kind of the friendly confines of this great state of Indiana. Yeah. So now you head out to Maryland. Like, what does a road game mean to you? What does a road test like this mean to you? Taking this team, kind of coming together, right, in your little shell and going out there and trying to be at your best on Saturday.
Me personally, I love road games. It's just us, and we all we got. And Coach Allen preaches that to us a lot, and then we get to live it out, on these road tests. But yeah, we're looking forward to it though.
And then lastly here for you, Noah, again, just like reading the comments from some of the guys that have chimed in here and appreciating all that you've done. How would you kind of describe what Indiana football has meant to you and how big of a part of your life it has been and will continue to be as you eventually call yourself an IU football alum?
I mean, it's been a journey. It's been amazing, though. Coach Allen has been amazing. It's been a blessing, to say the least. Yeah. But I'm a Hoosier through and through. Blessed to be here.
And we're fortunate to have you with us, and can't wait for you to be a part of the solution on Saturday, right? And take care of business and do what we want to do, and come out of there with a win. And so I certainly wish you all the best here. Safe travels, and look forward to seeing you in College Park on Saturday, my friend. Thanks, Noah.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Noah Pierre with us here on Indiana Football Live. Certainly appreciate him giving us a few minutes of his time. Look, on a busy week, right? You get back into Big Ten play, and you kind of understand that there's no messing around. The season is on, and this is opportunity number 5, and it's a good one, and it's a big one, and it's a big challenge against this Maryland team. As Noah said, one of the top offenses and passing offenses, not just in the Big Ten but in the country thus far. And just to kind of illustrate that, I'll give you a few things that I'm looking forward to in this game, and then we'll get to some more of your questions and comments that you might have if you're on YouTube. Be sure to submit those now. I'll get to those here in just a second. Appreciate all you guys joining us here. And, of course, this will be available on demand, both on IUHoosiers.com, on the IU Athletics YouTube page. And so be sure to check that out as well. So, look, here's the thing, and I'll throw this up here on the bottom of the screen just so you can kind of follow along. But pressuring Taulia Tagovailoa, that's probably going to happen to me a few times during the broadcast on Saturday as well. With how well Taulia's older brother is playing, Taulia is doing pretty good work here for himself as well. Now, here's the thing, and we've seen him the last couple of years. I think the need to pressure and to force him into hurried decisions, maybe ones that he doesn't want to make, throws he doesn't want to make, is really the way that Indiana has to operate here from a defensive perspective. Pressuring Tua Tagovailoa, affecting throws, because we've seen, and Noah just talked about it, how proficient this secondary can be and this defense can be in forcing turnovers. I mean, the interceptions have been huge so far this year. The 3 against Akron were massive. Obviously, Lou Moore takes one back to the house for 6. And that's a big play in this game. It's a big reason why we're talking about a W in that game. And Philip Dunham has been a magnet for the football. 3 interceptions on the year, and then 2 for Lou in this game is big. And so finding a way to get those guys who have great hands and great ball skills as secondary members an opportunity to get their hands on it because of pressure from guys like Andre Carter or Philip Bleedy or LD Cox, or from the second level with how well Jacob Mangum-Farrar has been able to blitz the quarterback. And we know what Ace can do in all facets of the game. So those guys generating pressure and just affecting the quarterback, making it a hostile environment inside that pocket, keeping him in that pocket will be huge because he is a slippery dude, and when he gets out on the perimeter, he can make plays, and they love to chuck it down the field. And here you go, explosive pass plays. That's another piece of looking ahead to Maryland here, which you're going to see scrolling on the bottom of your screen. They are 5th in the conference in explosive pass plays, which we would characterize as 15-plus yards, right? So they've had 25 of those. But they're even better when they go even deeper. The deep pass plays of 20-plus yards, they've accumulated 26 of them. That's 3rd in the conference. So altogether, with the 15-plus and the 20-plus, you're talking about 51 plays that have gone for more than 15 yards in the air. That is a big emphasis this week, keeping those receivers from Maryland in front of you, and then obviously harassing the quarterback so he doesn't have the time to make those throws. But in talking to some folks around the league and other coaches that I trust, Maryland's offensive line has been improved this year. I mean, they have allowed just 3 sacks and 4 hits. That is 3rd and 2nd in the conference, respectively. So this is an offensive line that understands their responsibility to protect a player in Taulia Tagovailoa, who's had an injury history. We saw it in the game last year. Was knocked out of the game against IU last year. So that has been an emphasis. Keep hits off the quarterback. And so that's obviously an emphasis on the flip side for Indiana. So we'll get to that as well. So those couple of things, limiting the explosive plays on defense, and then as you transition into the offensive priorities here, explosive plays on offense. Cam Camper had a number of them against Akron. He was terrific. And Cam has such a well-rounded game. I think there are other receivers on this team, and Donovan McCulley and DeKeys Carter and Cam Perry and Omar Cooper, who can also get down the field as well. There's going to be opportunities to be aggressive with the football. They got good secondary at Maryland. A guy like Tareeb Still played last year. With those 2 highly drafted Maryland defensive backs who are no longer there, Deonte Banks and Jacorian Bennett. So Tareeb Still is kind of like that guy who's been there and been around and is that experienced player now, and he's really good. And so it'll be a challenge, but I feel like affecting that deep passing game is going to be something that IU wants to do in this game. And then, where's Jay Lou, right? Where's Waldo? And that's what it should feel like for the Maryland defense, right? Finding all of those different ways to accentuate his skill set. Tom Allen talked about it today in his Zoom. Obviously, you want to get Jalen Lucas in space, and that is going to, obviously, every week, that is a big priority and a big emphasis for this offense. So whether you get him out there in the slot or on the perimeter, get him a ball right now and let him go make a play, or obviously what he can do in the run game from the backfield, screen game, all different types of gadget plays. Finding a way to get Jalen Lucas a football is always a huge priority and will be in this game. And then we talked about the big plays on offense. Got to find a way to turn a 5-yard catch into a 15-yard play, to turn a 10-yard catch into a 20-yard play, and certainly have the talent to do that with all the receivers I mentioned, with the tight ends. Hopefully James Bamba is able to come back this week and be available for this team. He's been certainly a weapon from the tight end spot, along with Trey Walker, who did a great job, Aaron Steinfeld, Bradley Archer. If those guys are all available, that's always a plus for the way that IU wants to attack defenses. So love what the tight end position can bring. And then, I think we saw, in addition to Jalen Lucas, Christian Turner's got some real juice. He's got some real gas. I love the way he's got vision and then burst once he sees what he wants, especially in between the tackles. I feel like he's done a really nice job. And, obviously want to see a little bit more from those guys in pass protection. And Coach Allen talked about that this week. Walt Bell talked about that this week. And that's, that goes all the way around, from all 5 offensive linemen to running backs and tight ends, and keeping pressure off of Taven Jackson, because Maryland's defense is much improved this year. And again, that's been another one of the storylines of their 4-0 start to the season. Defense and offensive line, they've got some skill players. And then just getting back to Maryland's offense again for one more point, which you'll see on the bottom of your screen, they're making Maryland one-dimensional. Roman Hemby is a good player and was a good player last year and is a really good running back. And when they have a defense off balance, they can be really dangerous. When they can rely on Hemby to give them, 5 to 6 yards a pop, then they can go over the top with that pass game, and that's when things get really dangerous. So finding a way to limit the run game and forcing Maryland to the air is obviously something that you really want to try to do, and make an offense that is full of talented, skilled players, at least a little bit less than, because you're able to slow down one portion of their plan is going to be beneficial here moving forward. So I look at that as something big. And then the turnover battle. Look, IU's been pretty good in terms of taking care of the football. Taven, while he's had an interception in each of the last 2 weeks, those are the only two, right? And then the fumble from Jalen Lucas was really the only one in that category. So for the most part, you're taking care of the football. But as good as IU has been in turning the ball over on defense with the interceptions, Maryland leads the conference right now in takeaways with 10. They had 5 last week against Michigan State. So that is something that has obviously been an emphasis for them, and something that Indiana needs to be very aware of in finding a way to be safe with the football, especially when you're on the road. And you know that you can get crowd can get into the game on those turnovers, and you want to keep that to a minimum. So taking care of the football will be paramount in this game, and then continuing the run of turnovers, I think, will be really big. And then look, if you start to get to Taulia Tagovailoa, you start to hit him, you get an opportunity for a sack, and then it turns into a strip sack, and then now you're really forcing turnovers, on both sides, both with fumbles, with interceptions. That's when things can really start to go IU's way. So I'd look for the turnover battle to be a big deal in this game against Maryland. And look, I think this is going to be a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to watch these games, and they have been the last couple of years. Obviously, didn't end up on the right side for IU last year, but we're in that game leading in the fourth quarter. And I feel like this team has every opportunity to do that. And look, this is a Maryland team that is down 14-0 in 2 of their 4 games this year, games 2 and 3. But they were able to find a way to make up that deficit and then win pretty decisively in both of those games. So if you could jump on them early and stay on them, this has got to be the best 60-minute effort that IU has seen, all year long. So I would just, I would imagine that is part of the. That is part of what has been communicated to IU, to the players this week, is you have an opportunity to get on this team. They've shown the propensity that they can get themselves into a hole early. So start fast, finish strong. Now, they did start fast last week against Michigan State, but didn't finish the way, as Mike Locksley said this week, finish the way that is representative of what they want their standard to be. So this is an opportunity for IU to play their best game, to play the full 60-minute game that we have been waiting for this season. So appreciate Mark, appreciate Eric, appreciate all you guys that are commenting and that have commented up there on YouTube. We've got a lot more coming up for you. Again, each and every week, we're going to be back here with you, 7 o'clock Eastern time. We'll talk to a player. We're going to try to connect with IU's NFL alumni. So excited for that opportunity here for the next few weeks as well. And then every Monday, be sure you're tuning in for Under the Hood with IU football, presented by your local Central Indiana Ford dealers. Ford is your Central Indiana Ford dealers, a proud sponsor of IU football. They do a great job helping us bring more content to you each week. And so we have the opportunity to interview a member of the IU coaching staff on Mondays following each game. And so that'll be out for you at 7 o'clock Eastern time as well. So be sure to check back with us each Monday and Thursday ahead of each week this season. We look forward to communicating and interacting with you guys, and feel free to hit me up on Twitter with any questions, or on X rather. Any questions you have, any comments, anytime you want to talk IU football, I'm always here for it. @RhettNFL is the way to do that. And then be sure to check out all of our content, both on X and on the IU Athletics YouTube page. All right, so that'll do it for this edition of Indiana Football Live, but be sure to check back with us again next week, and look forward to seeing everybody. If anybody can make the trip out to the Shell in Maryland on Saturday, obviously a long trip, but a cool place to see a college football game. So if you got an opportunity to do that, look forward to seeing all the Hoosiers out there in Maryland, and then seeing you back at the Rock in a couple of weeks. But would be great to go into the bye week for IU with the win and to be above 500. So pulling for that, and hopefully you guys can tune into the IU radio broadcast with my buddy Don Fisher. We're available for you on SiriusXM as well, channel 380, 3:30 Eastern time kick, and then also available on the Varsity app from Learfield. So be sure to check out all that stuff. Thanks, guys, for being with us here. I'm Rhett Lewis. We'll catch you next week.